everybody, hope you're all well. You'll notice my backdrop, I'm not going to talk about them. I'm just going to, I've got you. Just going to see if I'm live in my group. I know it's the boring bit, but it has to be done just to make sure everything is okay. Here we go. Yeah, all good. Lovely. Let me turn myself down. That's lovely. Okie dokie. First thing, the elephant in the room is obviously what's behind me. I'm just about to start filming straight after this for the second project, which is Sienna, which is the table mat runner behind me. I've already done the video for Sienna, and I'm sorry this hasn't been a surprise for you. I am going to show them properly next Wednesday in the members group, but as I say, I'm going to be filming straight after, so I couldn't get my stands up to cover it up in time, and I thought, oh blow, we're near to the end of the month anyway, so apologies for that if I've spoilt things for you, but you can see the projects as I said, but I'm not really going to be talking about them. This is not about the projects, so apologies for that. So this is about hexagon number 4. We've already got the 3 done, so if we have a look, yes, it is our little secret, Gemma, you're quite right. So these are the 3. So this is my first one, this is my second one. That was such a gloomy day. I'm going to put them in a row, and then this is my third one. I think I quite like it. Well, I suppose I could do it like that. I quite like it on the diagonal. So those are the 3 so far. So the fourth one, it's kind of become that I show you this and then you copy, which is fine, but please, you know, come up with your own ideas. If you've got a way of doing something, if it's something is your favourite way, then obviously, you know, do all of your hexagons like that. The idea is that you'll end up with 7 all slightly different. Because we're this time of year, August, going into September now, your hexagons will be very similar, because obviously we've got sunshine, we've got a little bit of cloudiness going on. It's been a funny old summer really, but you will find, because it's a temperature quilt and it's about literally the temperature, you'll find that your hexagons become very similar, and the way that you kind of make them different is doing the different techniques. So using the netting over there, using just literally stitch and a bit of sort of layered work, if you like, couching down, and also like we did last week, which is the chenille effect. So if we didn't do that, you'll end up, you know, for instance, if we did all of our 7 hexagons like this, they'd probably all look like this, because the temperatures have been, you know, fairly similar, apart from this Sunday, which was obviously a bit grotty, wasn't it? You know, and it reminds you that, you know, it was a bit grotty that day, although I remember we did have that little burst of sunshine lunchtime in the afternoon. So the idea is that I think you'll find, for instance, a temperature quilt is actually 365 hexagons or whatever. You could use squares, I suppose, you use what you like. And it represents the temperature of the day. So it's got nothing to do with whether you went to the seaside or what you had for your lunch, whether you had the grandchildren, anything like that. It's literally about the weather and how the weather was on that day. So it's easy to get carried away and put other elements in there, but seriously, a temperature quilt should reflect who's that? Abigail. Oh, has it? Holographic bum bag for ducks was just arrived. Oh God, they'll see her coming. Actually, I must get my Jessica out the garage and get her done, dusted off. Yes, so you'll find over the 7 weeks that you will end up with using the same colourway pretty much the whole time, unless you have an anomaly where, you know, you have a Sunday that's pretty, or whatever day you've chosen, that's pretty grotty, and you end up with this sort of dark one in between them all. Now today is no exception, because the weather here in sunny Suffolk has been yellows and blues. It has been, without a shadow of a doubt, all morning has been glorious. And then about an hour ago, the heavens opened and we had an absolute horrific downpour for literally 5 minutes. So obviously I want to reflect that in the colours. Now, because I always do a Sunday and I haven't lived the day, I'm going to use my artistic licence to continue the rest of the day. And if I look out now, we've got a mixture of sunshine, blue skies, grey skies, and the possibility of a bit more rain. So I'm going to do yellows, blues and greys, and that will really sum up the day. And I'm going to do it like a bit of a sort of a spiral. I don't know if this is going to work. I haven't tried it yet, so it's kind of new. What's this? You shall model with pride. Yes! Oh, for goodness sake, her and a holographic bum bag. Holographic, I mean not holographic. Well, it could be holographic. So, yeah, so number 4 is going to go here. So if you can, when we join them together, if you can keep them in some sort of order. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then you've got them in a spiral, like you know, like a snail, and you can follow your story, and it'd be really interesting. So let's just stop chatting and get on with it. So once again, we need a piece of calico. So you can see that I'm using that piece of calico from a couple of weeks back. And once again, I'm just going to cut a large piece just around it, just to give me enough room to do what I need to do. With this thing that I'm going to do, I'm not sure yet how I'm going to do the edges, because I don't really want to fold the edges over, because I don't want it to be bulky. But we'll see. Look, that's a lot of rough cutting, isn't it? Oh dear. Yeah, so who says that? Oh, Abigail. Abigail, we're not talking about the background. We're not allowed to. I've asked my ladies to ignore it, because I'm doing a couple of hours of filming after I've done this. And, well, to be perfectly honest, my backdrop stands, which I would normally use to cover up, are actually downstairs in the sitting room waiting for Duxford. I think I'm fed up with saying that now. I'm not going to say that word anymore. Because that's all I seem, living and breathing the thing. Yeah, it's been, I had such a nightmare the other night about it. It might be easier to draw on the back of this. I'm not sure. I think I just cut it before, which I think that's what I'll do. It's ridiculous. So, so here I'm cutting my H640. I've given you the hexagons. They're in the files, but truly I've used the same one the whole time. It's not like English paper piecing, where we are, you know, folding our fabrics over and, you know, stitching them in. We're not doing that at all. So let's just get that, you know, folding over and tacking and all that sort of thing for EPP. We're not doing any of that. We're just going to be joining them together at the end. Where is Duxford? Cambridgeshire. Yeah, Cambridgeshire. Just up the road for us three, which is nice. So I'm just put my iron on. Is it on? Have I switched everything off? Yes. A bit of elfin safety. Yeah. Cambridgeshire, everybody's... Poor Carol, everybody's telling her now where it is. It's actually very famous for its air shows and the museum there. And if they're talking about, you know, like the Lancaster bombers or the Spitfires or whatever, it might be a film or a programme or whatever, it's pretty much they've gone to the Imperial War Museum in Duxford. So we're sort of lucky that we've got it on our doorstep. For me, it's probably about maybe 8 miles away. I'm not, maybe 10, but it's not bad for all of us, all 3 gals. It's not too bad. Right, so that's stuck down okay, so I'm happy with that. So we can put the iron, well actually I do need the iron for a second. We're just going to leave that there. So I'll just make it a little bit more attractive looking. So you don't, because you know, if somebody, if people are worried about how things look, you know, they'd have a field day at this with this, wouldn't they? That's a little bit better, look. That's a little bit better. So you know that that's on the back, and the reason why we've used it on all of them, even though we have literally squidged it down with our stitching, it gives it texture, it gives it a little bit of softness, gives it dimension if we want it to, because this, or that you can see on the back that this hasn't been stitched a lot, so it's still quite dimensional, it's quite thick. So I've been enjoying using that for the hexagons. Okay, so that's our hexagon done, and if we used our template again, let me just stick it over the top. I can just outline it again, and we know where our boundaries are, because this is the thing about the whole thing, is that I'm not sure how I'm finishing the edges of this off yet. I haven't decided how it should look. Okay, so the next thing is that I want to cut some squares. Okay, so I'm going to get that out of the way, and I'm going to get my mat. There we go. And I'm going to cut, I think I'm going to cut 3-inch squares. I'm not sure. I haven't done this yet. So I really don't know if I'm doing right or wrong. But I had a good idea. Now, if you're using scraps like me, please give them an iron before you start cutting. But I need about, well, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Let's go with 6. I think that will probably be enough. We'll see how it looks. That's the thing. This is all what they call impromptu. But I had it in my head and I didn't have time to do anything about it. So I want a 3-inch square. So we'll just cut as best we can. Or do you know, I do need a new rotary blade in my rotary cutter. It's so blunt. So we're going to have some yellows, as we've done, gosh, over the last 3 weeks, 4 weeks now. We've used yellows. I mean, I suppose if it would have been more interesting if we'd done this in the springtime, because you'd have got the, you know, the changing of the seasons a little bit more. But we are going into September, so I suppose we know we'll start getting perhaps those autumnal colours. I don't know, because we've only got, what have we got? 3 left to do, which will take us into the 3rd week, perhaps, or second week, end of 2nd week in September. And so I'm not really sure how it's going to go. We could have an Indian summer, and then that'll throw all of us, won't it? Right, so I'm just rummaging in my scraps of yellow, seeing what I can find. Just, oh, look at that. I don't think I'll get a 3-inch square out of that. Ooh. Do you know what? I'm going to squeeze one out, because it was really lovely at lunchtime, well, just before lunch. And these are going to be folded, so they're not, doesn't matter hugely if they're not an accurate 3-inch square. Like I say, I'm not even sure how it's going to work yet. It's all been done with my imagination and thinking, oh yeah, that might work. So you can see, gosh, Come on, Lizzy, change your rotary cutter. Not now, I'll do it after. I'll have to do it for when I'm filming. Otherwise the world and his wife will be moaning at me. Okay, so we're going to go for 6. So there's like early morning, say mid-morning, midday. Then we had a downpour, so I want to get a sort of grey colour. So let's see what's in my bag here. I don't think I've got a grey bag. I should have. Would that do? No, that won't do. Bear with. Let me just have a look. Oh, I know. I've got some grey. Just a sec. Grey. Okay. Just having a look through my piles. I've got plenty of stuff. Right, here's a piece of grey. So let me just cut it roughly. So I don't want too much of an extreme, so that I think that colour's okay. Because it went a little bit dark, but it wasn't overpowering. You know, it wasn't really. I did put the light on in the kitchen because I was cooking the lunch. We had sea bass. It was lovely. But yeah, it wasn't really horrendously dark. So I think that represents it fine. So I want 2 more. So I'm going to assume the sun came out again, which actually, when I'm looking at outside my room here, it really is a lovely sunny sky now. So we're going to go for a real bright yellow. So this really is poetic license. So once again, just a reminder, we're thinking of the temperature of the day, not necessarily thinking, you know, that you went to Centre Parks or you know, went on a bike ride or anything like that. You're thinking about whether the sun was shining, whether it was a black sky, blue sky, maybe even, you know, how it was really early in the morning. Maybe you can sort of pick up on that because the grass is getting quite dewy now, isn't it? So it could be that it was quite a damp sort of start. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So let's go for a, I know, I'll go for a patterned, which is kind of blue and yellow. So we ended up the day on a blue sky. This has been cut on the bias because it was a bit of fabric I used for a piece of bias binding. So let's just take it down there. Yeah, so it's all about how warm it was. How warm it was. Well, if it was scorching hot, although Mary says it's not so hot in Spain now, but or when Adrian was on her cruise, it was so scorching. And so you would put some reds in there, wouldn't you? And like I said, the idea is, if you were to do this for 365 days, which is what it's supposed to represent, then your quilt or your mat or whatever you make would actually look quite similar. Yeah, you'd see the highs and lows of the year, let's put it that way. So what we're going to do is we're going to fold each one diagonally, and then we're going to fold them again. Like I say, I have no idea how this is going to turn out. This is all done impromptu. So we're making a thingy. What do they call it? Yeah, anyway, somebody can tell me. And so you're just folding it diagonally and then folding the edges in. So I'm going to keep them in the order as I was thinking about the day, how they were in my mind. So diagonally and then bring the point down. Prairie point, is it? That's it, I think that's what I was thinking of. And then fold that one in. I want to try and get some decent points on there. There we go. And so we can put that one, to the outside. So like I say, it's it doesn't matter that it wasn't quite perfect, that piece. And ideally get some best press on them or some so flat, depending what you like to use, and it will give you a lovely sharp point. In actual fact, oh yes, I'm going to say let me just reach across and get it, my clapper. Oh, sorry guys. Because it does make a difference, it really does. So let's just keep those there. Let me just put some heat on those and then put my clapper on. Okay, hope I haven't got these out of order now. But get the heat on. Pop that under there. You get them nice and crispy, get them really pressed. Sometimes it's a little bit hot on your hands, I know, especially if you're using a wool mat, because it reflects the heat so well that yeah, you're getting that heat coming back up on you. So just be careful with the once you've pressed them, they're super hot. Right, we'll just pop those under the clapper as well. Got to try and keep them in order. So let's pop that one under. See how well they sit down now? That one was a little bit cold, I think, when I put the clapper on it. And that one. That's it. Do you see how lovely they sit down? Let's do that one again. That's it. Well, hopefully I've still got them in order. Alright, so now we've got our hexagon and we've got our little squares. So let's just take that off now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start placing my little squares on here. I think what I'm going to do is find the middle. So let's get my ruler. I'm going to do roughly. It doesn't have to be super precise, but let's find the centre. That one's easier. Okay, and then our little points should go to the centre, and I'm going to, I think I'll do it on the straight edge. I wasn't sure, I was going to put it on the points, but I think I'll keep to the straight edge. And I'm going to use a pin just to hold them down for a moment. In fact, a double-edged pin, double-pronged pin would be better. I can find them. Just a sec. If you get some of these, they're actually quite useful for things. I was making binding this morning, and a double pronged pin really holds things down. So then we went on to a little bit more of a warmer bit. So let's get a double pin. I'm going to see how it looks. I might alter it. See how it looks. Maybe I'll keep that like that, and then we go into midday. So I don't want to lose the colours, so I'm thinking about how this is going to lay down on my hexagon. So I don't want to lose the colours, but all the time I'm just making sure my points are meeting in the middle. And then we had the grey, didn't we, with the rain. Got to stop tutting when I can't think of the word. So and these, I think these just fit the size of the hexagon, so they were 3-inch squares. Yeah, that was sheer luck because I didn't have a look beforehand. And then we've got after lunch, which is now, and it's lovely and sunny, so let's pop that down. And then we've got this evening. So this evening is poetic license, because I really don't know. And I'm just going to bring that one over, pop the point in the middle, and pop my double pin down. Now, just for a difference, I think that's quite nice, because it's interesting, isn't it, with the different the folds and the different fabrics. But if we started our day here, so 8 o'clock, 11 o'clock, 1 o'clock, no, 8 o'clock, 10 o'clock, 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock, 3 and this evening. I think that'll do super. So once again, we've got something really quite different. What we need to do now is to stitch these down, and the way I suggest you do this is, I think, use a regular pin now. Now I'm quite happy with how that looks. I'm really quite pleased. I didn't know how it was going to look, so there we are. But what we need to do now is to stitch from here right the way across to here through the fold. If you can disguise it in the fold, you don't want to be stitching the fabric, you just want to be you know, excuse me, going into the channels there, yeah? So what's the best way of doing that? So I don't want to excuse me, catch the others. So let me turn my iron off. Oh, got a tickle in my throat. Right, so let's pop our, could do with my really nice Taylor Saville pins, but we'll just use these. So I'm going to pin these, and then I'm going to get them out of the way, and then I'll do this in pairs. But I'm just pinning it so I know where it is. If you do this, can I make a suggestion and you take a photo so you know which bit goes where? But I can't take a photo because I'm looking at the comments on my phone, you know, with my camera. So, right, I'm fairly happy with that. I'll take this one out and put a pin in. And what we need to do is, you need to make sure that all of these, first of all of these come back, so you don't want to catch them, and both those points meet in the middle. Can you see? So that's how I'm going to do it, rightly or wrongly. I've never done it before, so I reckon that's right. And these want to come out. Perhaps you could use a clip. I know we're kind of overcooking this a little bit, but it's just in case you worry, we can just clip these out of the way, just so we've got a visual on what we're doing. But the other thing is to make sure they overlap correctly. But I think that'll be fine. Once we've got them stitched down, we can still overlap them. So that it's the two middle ones we're going to do, and then we'll do these two and then these two. Yeah. So we'll see how that goes. So let me just move some of my bits and bobs out the way. I've got a full desk going on here. Because like I say, I'm prepped for filming, so I've got all that gubbins on my desk as well. Oh dear me. So let's go on to the side camera. Okay, let's put this on the floor. Oh my goodness me. It's not enough room. Push everything out the way. So that. As it says, my phone, so I can see what's going on. I hope everybody's all right. It seems to be really busy everywhere at the moment. Everybody's doing their thing, and perhaps it's holidays. Perhaps that's what you're all up to, because you're all very quiet in the group. But all the groups. So look, when I'm pushing this down, let me see if I can get in a bit nearer. It's a bit better. Wait for it to find its focus. When I push this down my foot, it closes up my fold here. Do you see? So I've got to try and make sure that I stitch only in the middle there, if you like. Move the folds out of the way. Again, you might want to draw on it, you might want to pin it, anything to make it easy for yourselves. So I'm just opening that up. When I come close to the middle, yeah, I'm going to bring this one down, slip it under my foot. I'm going to use my pokey tool to make sure it sits flat. So that's caught in the centre line there, so I'm happy with that. So all I want to do now is to work my way along here. I suppose you could move these out of the way and draw a line and stitch down there, but I just want to, I don't know, I mean, I don't know what's best, probably that, but I'm just moving those out of the way so we can see. I mean, look, it's moved anyway, so okay. And I'm going to leave that loose because I want to make sure that I fold all of them correctly, you know, overlap and underlap and underlap. so I'm going to stitch the two, you know, the diagonal ones now. Okay, so that one and that one I'm going to stitch. Just make sure your point goes right into the centre. And obviously what you're trying to do is to get this fold here across the centre of your flat bit, so your straight bit, okay? But I mean, to be honest, I wasn't taking a lot of notice of that, but will hopefully be about right. So again, I'm coming up the centre of that crease. I don't want to catch the edges, and as I come to the middle, so I'm going to fold this one back, bring it over. I'm going to get my stiletto again and just make sure that I don't catch the fabric, you know, these two little folds. I don't want to catch that, but I do want to come down to this point here. So let's just put those back. Ooh, that's it. So that's the second one going across there, and so the next one is this one. As I say, they've probably not correctly flapped over, so but I can do that when I've finished. I can put it right. So this is the last one going across diagonally, so I'm starting up here, coming to the middle, bring this one up and do that. Yeah, does that make sense? We'll see how we get on. So let's get that in the centre. Use my stiletto to hold it in place. Bring this one down. Oh, just got the needle right in the folds there, and again I'm just going to come straight down there, so I'm just flapping those back, and I think that would be a good idea to actually draw a straight line. So there we are. But I'm going to put it on my mat now to you know, make the flaps correct, and I'll give it another iron. So we'll switch that on. So let's start. This was first thing in the morning, and then we had 10 o'clock in the morning, then we had midday, happy with that one, then we had 1 o'clock, then we had 3 o'clock, and then we had the rest of the day. So actually that is correct now. That is correct. So I'm just going to give it a press. Use some best press, that would really help. Okay, and while that's still hot, because we don't want it to be hot now, because I want to draw around this. Okay, so let's get my hexagon. So I want to find out where my edges are. So I'm just going to pop this over the top. I think I'll fold this into quarters to marry up the centre of that. And I need my pen. So if it's too hot, my pen won't work. So I'm just going to pop that in the centre. So you see where I've folded it. Just want to make sure that I've got that in the right place. And then I'm going to draw around my hexagon. I'm going to stitch this down. I think I can't do a zigzag because I'm on my dukey, but I think you could do a zigzag or an overlock. If you've got an overlock machine or a overlock stitch on your machine, zigzag is good enough, but I can't do that, so you don't have to follow me now. You can do whatever your machine will do if you've got a fancy stitch you want to use. So that's the edge of our hexagon, okay? So really what we want to do is to stitch just inside that line to secure all our pieces, and then I'm going to cut back. Well, because I've stitched all these down from the points there, I'm going to have to undo those stitches because I don't want this bulk to go round. So let's just get this stitched. I hope all this is making sense. You have to stop me if it's not making any sense and you can't see head and a tail of what I'm doing. So I'm just going inside the line, guys. Yeah, you must say, because I know that sometimes I do some really wacky things. Not too wacky, but let's go back one. Oh, just don't want to be on that cut line. I just want to bring my stitch just in a bit. Oh, excuse me, I've got a dry throat now. That's it. So I'm just coming inside that line, so it's really, I'd say, almost like a 1/16 of an inch. And just use your stiletto to make sure that you don't lift any of the fabric, the points. I'm going to leave it like that. It's just a little bit further in than I would like. I'll show you, I'll lift it up to the camera so you can see. It's just another idea. I mean, you don't have to do this at all. If you like doing another method, then carry on doing that. But like I say, it's all about the temperature of the day, how you interpret it, whether it's hot, cold, mild, boiling hot, pouring down with rain, freezing, all of those things, and represent that in your piece of work. Okay, so I've just stitched, as you can see, just inside the line. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to get my quick unpick, and I'm just going to unpick that little piece there. Do you remember we stitched right from the edge there? So it's only a little bit I'm going to unpick. So, oh, excuse me, I'm so sorry. Right, so each one of these, and because we've just stitched around the hexagon, all the stitches are secure, so we don't need to worry. But let's get rid of what we don't need, because we do still want to fold this over nicely. Okay, I mean, you could, I suppose you could just have a raw edge, but you've got to stitch, you've got to have something to stitch to, haven't you? You know, when you stitch all these together, you want a folded edge of some sort, I think, to stitch to. So this is only just think of it as basting. If you can go from the start line, if you can go from the outside line, then that's fine. But you know, like I say, I've never done this before. So, like I say, a zigzag would be good. What I would do is, I would cut this back to undo the stitches, cut it back and then zigzag over the edges so it's nice and neat. But I don't have a zigzag on my machine. I'm not going to change my machine at the moment. So I'm trying to stick to the correct size so all the hexagons fit at the end. Because if you get one smaller than the other or bigger than the others, well, that would be a right pain, wouldn't it? So just be careful you don't cut your calico, which is, I nearly did that. Oh, look, can you see? I'll have to do a bit of a mending job on it. So it might be better to pull that down, yes. There we go. 2 more to do. Just trim that back. There we go. Oop. Just make sure that calico's out of the way. I mean, to be honest, if you do catch it like we did there, it won't matter too much, because like I say, you're stitching it. You're going to be stitching it into the next one. Okay, well, let's get rid of all my bits. All my bits and bobs. Right, so that is our hexagon, and that is our starting point, and that's how we go through the day. So I shall remember that. But you could always write a little note to yourself. So now we not want to glue this down. I mean, you could, obviously you could go around again and stitch it, couldn't you? Shall we do that? I suppose this is where you could zigzag, couldn't you? You could fold these under and zigzag. I think that would be quite nice, actually. I'm still not going to zigzag it though, so I'm going to have to change my machine. But I could glue it. If I knew where my glue pen was. I wasn't really organised at all, was I, today? Let's have a look. Oh. Never mind. Not to worry. Oh, here it is. Oh, no, it's not. Right. Oh, there it is. Oh, silly me. Right beside me. So... this is just temporary glue, but it'll do the job that we need it to do. I always do one, miss one, do one. Like I say, just be careful if you've caught your calico. And fold that back. Yeah, so you could stitch this again. I think that'd be quite nice actually. But if you give it a good press, then it will stay nice until you come to stitch them all together. So try and follow the outside of the hexagon you just drew. And then you might want to offer it up to all the others. So just be careful if you're using H640, do be careful because you'll burn that if you're not careful. So you can see I'm just going on the calico at the moment. Turn that over, give it another press. There we are. Turn that off, I think. Diana says, oh Lizzie, we love your ideas and try to understand your mind. Oh, please, don't try to understand the mind. Sometimes I don't know where they come up from, some of these ideas. Right, so in the depths of somewhere. So the other thing we need now is a little button, because we want to, it's not a case of covering up that centre, it's a case of enhancing your project. So we're talking about temperature, so I think the best thing we can do is to, well, we could put a little grey dot in there because we had a grey sort of middle of the day. So we could find a tiny, tiny little grey button somewhere in my bobbins, oh look at that one, that's gorgeous. I think that would be absolutely perfect. Look at that. Let's bring you in close and you can see it. I quite like that. Quite like that. So what we need is a needle and thread. I've got a needle. I was stitching up the little mat I made with Stuart's fabric and the bee, which I posted a picture of that in the main group earlier. I'm glad I finished that, so that sits on my side now. And that'll go to Duxford, sorry to mention that word again, because it's using the wonky squares, of course, so I can use it as a sample to show people what they can do, because sometimes, you know, people do need that inspiration. I think sometimes we're all a bit lacking, sometimes with our ideas, or, you know, what can we do next, or I bought this, now what can I do? And that was always the thing when I worked on TV. You know, you showed a die of some sort, and And the next question in my head is, well, yes, I can see what that's going to do, but what else can it do? Is it value for money for the customers watching? Is it value for money? So yeah, come up with some ideas of what else it can do, because these things mustn't ever be a one-trick pony. They've got to earn their keep, definitely. Right, so now my other thought, if I've got an even smaller yellow button. Oh, look at that. Oh, I'm a bit further back, sorry. I don't think I've got a... Oh. Where there's a will, there's a way. Even tinier. So let's have a little go of putting this tiny one in. Sometimes we have tiny little buttons like this and we never know what to do with them. Well, here's your moment. And because it's 4 prongs, 4 holes I mean, I'm going to do it as like a little kiss. A cross stitch. Oh, we mustn't talk about kisses at the moment, must we? That's a bit hot topic, isn't it? What a stupid man. Really? It's like, what were you thinking, you idiot? Oh my gosh. Oh, there we are. Look, what do you reckon? I quite like that. We've got the grey for the midday, but actually we have had the sun come out and it's coming in and out all the time. So I quite like that. I'm going to leave that exactly as it is. So it represents, although it's a button, it does represent the temperature. It represents the grey and the fact that it went quite chilly for a bit. I had to put my kitchen light on. And the hot sunshine, because when it does come out it is hot. Still, obviously we're still in August, so it should be hot. Yeah, so there we are. So there's our little impromptu temperature hexagon. I quite like it, guys. What do you think? I think I've got them all folded correctly, haven't I? Well, if I haven't, it's too late now. It's all stitched and glued. So let's see what it looks like. Let's put them together on my mat. Let's get rid of these. So that's our starter. I will trim those ends at some point. There's our second one, which we want to have it so it's like that. There's our third one, and now this is our fourth one. So look at all the different textures we've got going on there. This one's quite heavily, well actually it's not heavily stitched, it's not like this one, but you've got the tulle, isn't it, going across, and free motion stitch, do a little bit of French knots in there. That's quite nice. We've got the texture, we've got the stitching around the outside. I quite like the fact we've got some hand stitching on there. Then we've got the massive amount of stitching. Now I have to say I absolutely love doing this. Okay, this is my, you know, after a while you find out what your thing is, and my thing is thread painting. I really love it. I wish I had another week in my week so that I could do stuff like this. And then we've got the chenille work, which I think is great, and I love all this fraying. It might not suit everybody, so this might suit you all, or this one, or this one. This is neat. This is scruffy, but I quite like that. It was a hot day, I remember it, and yeah, I think it represents the day very well. That mixture of blue sky and hot sunshine. Yeah, I love it. And then this one, which is, let's do it so it goes like that. And this one, which is actually really quite neat. I didn't know how it was going to work. I had no idea, but I think it's done okay. I love the button in the centre for the rain clouds and the sunshine. So we've got that feeling of warmth coming through there. So yeah, I think that's worked okay. So this is obviously number 4. So I hope you've enjoyed that. I hope you go away and think about what you can do. Maybe you'll do something similar and see you need 6 colours for that. That's not too bad, is it? Well, I'm sure we've got more stash than I care to shake a stick at, and I'm sure you'll find 6 little pieces. I used 3-inch, which seemed to work. I think if you had a charm, not a charm pat, a jelly roll or something like that, I think 2.5-inch Try it. I'm not sure it would be big enough, but try it and see. I don't know. I've never done it before, so I don't know. You could give it a go though. Oh dear, oh dear. But yeah, I'm really quite pleased with them. Yeah. Right, I've got to go because I've got a video to do for you guys. Might have something to do with that. Right, I will be back on Wednesday next week, showing everybody the patterns, the new patterns. So this is our secret. Keep quiet. Don't tell anybody else in the main group, because it's kind of split. It's not 50-50, but it's not far off. That 50% of you are platinum, 50% are gold. So don't tell the guys in the main group, and we'll keep it as a surprise, and pretend you haven't seen them. Right, thank you very much for joining me for a little while. I appreciate your company as usual, and I'm just going to get off now, tidy up my desk, get going on a 2-hour spate of filming. Should be good. I'm not going to make this. I'm not going to make all of that though. We're more than 2 hours. Right, I'll see you all later, guys. Bye bye. Bye bye.